Thrym, the king of the Jotnar, the giants of Jotunheim. Heimdall, the god who keeps watch for invaders where the burning bridge Bifrost meets the sky. We have Freyr, the goddess of love and beauty.
Thor, the thunder god, is often pictured carrying his hammer called Mjolnir, which he uses as a battle axe, like Stormbreaker. In this Norse myth, he has to dress up as a girl. If you want to know more, you have to listen on. Thor's wedding. Thor, the thunderer, the hallowed hammer, the god of Thursdays, oak trees, and healing, slept with his weapon by his side. This was Mjolnir, the hugest, hardest hammer that ever was. With Mjolnir, Thor could knock down mountains, squash cities, and bash whole armies. He was a god after all, and gods can do things like that if they wanted to. Giants can too, but generally speaking, gods do things bigger and better. One night, when Thor was snoring, and that was pretty noisy I can tell you, a giant tiptoed by his bed and stole Mjolnir. In the morning, Thor discovered the black of his hammer. Oh my, how his tantrum shook the ground and quivered the treetops. The sun ran scared and hid behind the horizon. The clouds blackened, whizzed around the sky, smashed into one another, and turned into hard, cold rain. The priests called out, "People hide, the sky is falling down." Thor, when at last he grew weary of rage, vowed to get back his hammer. The task called for brains, but Thor was a strong god, but not as clever as his brother Loki. Now Loki was a different kind of god. His wits were as quick as a flame. He had as many tricks as a fire has sparks. He came to Thor's aid in a flash. "Loki," called Thor, "help me find my hammer." "This is serious," said Loki. "Mjolnir is our main weapon against the giants, which leads me to think that this was most probably a giant who stole it. Let me prove my hunch, and then we shall see what we can do." Loki first called on the lovely house of Freyr, she of the long golden hair and a cloak of feathers. "Freyr, will you lend me your cloak?" he asked. "That I will," she replied. "Even if it were made of silver or gold, I would have you have it, for we gods help one another in times of trouble." When Loki had wrapped himself in the wonderful garment, he looked just like a hawk. Feathers whirled as he winged his way across the sky, leaving the lands of gods and reaching the realm of the giants. Thrym was the giants' king. He sat on a hill making gold chains for his dogs. When Loki sat down beside him, Thrym knew him right away. "How are the gods?" he asked. "And what news of the elves?" "The gods are doing far from well," replied Loki, "and the elves live little better. We've lost a hammer. You wouldn't know anything about that, would you?" "That I do," replied Thrym. "I've buried the hammer of Thor 8 miles under, and I shall not return it until Freya is my wife." Loki spread his wings and took off. His feathers whirled as he winged his way across the sky, leaving the land of the giants and reaching the realm of the gods. Thor was waiting in the courtyard of the palace. Loki sat down beside him. "What news of my hammer?" he inquired. And Loki replied, "Thrym has buried it 8 miles under and will not return it until Freya is his wife." "Right then," said Thor. Straight away the two gods made their way to the lovely house of Freya, she of the long golden hair. "Freya, take the bridal veil," said Thor. "Set a pretty cap upon your head. Choose a long dress with flowers and precious gems embroidered into its hem. Let your necklace, the wondrous work of gods, be around your neck. You must marry the giant King Thrym before he will return my hammer. He has it hidden 8 miles under, and there's no other solution. In times of trouble, we gods always help one another. So cheer up, put on a smile, sweetheart. Today is your wedding day." But Freya did not do as she was told. Cheer up, cheer up. You must have lost what's left of your tiny little mind, my big brutish friend. If you think I'm going to wed a giant, then you've got another thing coming. You've lost your hammer 8 miles under. Well, here's my advice to you. Start digging. Then she took off her mighty necklace, the wondrous work of the gods who live beneath the mountain, and lashed the thunder god with it. Something had to be done. The other gods and goddesses came to a council to decide. There spoke Heimdall, the sleepless watcher of the world. He knew the future well, and his advice was always worthy of attention. This is what he said. Thor, take the bridal veil, set a pretty cap upon your head, choose a long dress, with flowers and precious gems embroidered to its hem. Let Freyr's necklace, the wondrous work of dwarfs, shine around your neck. Now come on, Thor, my boy, why these angry scowls and growls? Cheer up, for today you shall wed Thrym, the king of the giants. I shall not wear a dress, thundered Thor. The other gods and goddesses had finally stopped laughing. Loki stepped forward and declared, Thor, don't you see the deception would be a fine trick to play on Thrym the thief? If you agree to this, then I too shall dress up in a dress as your bridesmaid and stand by your side on your big day. If you do not agree, then, my friend, the giants will soon be here in Asgard, wielding the mighty hammer against us and smashing down the walls of this very palace. Thor saw that he must go along with the plan, for in times of trouble the gods help one another. He took the bridal veil. The goddesses set a pretty cap upon his head. Freya chose a long dress for him with flowers and precious gems embroidered into its hem. Then she placed her necklace, the wondrous work of dwarfs, around his neck. Truly, you are the loveliest bride I did ever see, swore Loki. Then he too dressed as a maid. As Loki was a trickster god, he could change form, so he changed into the bridesmaid. Thrym saw the bridal party on their way. He called out, Giants, set out the benches and the tables for a feast. I have many goats and sheep, a multitude of black-eared oxen, chests brimming with jewels and every possession that our giant could delight in. But one thing I lack, the beautiful Freyr for my wife. Now they are bringing her to be my bride. Giants, rejoice, this shall be our wedding day. The giants brought giant quantities of drink and food. Thor alone ate an entire ox, ate salmon, and all the dainty little dishes that were set out for the woman. He washed down his food with 3 barrels of mead. Thrym marveled at such appetite. Whoever saw a bride with such a greedy gobble, a bite so big, and her thirst so unquenchable? Quick as a flash, Loki, the bridesmaid, replied. So excited was she, waiting for her wedding day to dawn, that she did not eat or drink in 8 whole days. Ah, what a sweetheart! Let me give her a kiss, declared Thrym, and he lifted up the bride's veil. Thor glowered like a sky that was about to break into a storm. Thrym stepped back, startled. What bride ever had eyes so red, a beard so thick, and such an angry look? He asked. Quick as a spark, Loki the bridesmaid replied. So excited was she, waiting for her wedding day to draw, that she did not sleep in 8 whole nights. Ah, what a sweetheart, declared Thrym. Bring Mjolnir, the hammer of Thor. Lay it on the bride's lap so that the high priest may bless our wedding. At last, this was something that made the heart of Thor rejoice. As soon as the priest returned his hammer to his lap, he threw off the bridal veil, the pretty cap, and the long flowing dress, and round his head he wielded the weapon, killing Thrym and every giant who stood in his way. So ended Thor's wedding day, fortunately before he was actually wed. Another time he married Sif, the goddess of the golden corn, whose long hair Loki once stole as a trick. That is another story.